So this is the first time I'm running my Boucher on my layout. There, I'll stop it real quick. So the reason why this is the first time I'm running this train here, I had to extend the layout to make the radius wide enough, or the diameter of the track wide enough for the Boucher to run on. So the Boucher needed, I believe, a minimum of 80 inches. It's a Boucher 2500, and this track was only, or the table itself was only 8 foot deep, 6 foot wide. So I had to put in this extension, which you could see is a different color. Now, there's a reason why there's a gap here. You'll see that gap. If you see back there, that door and that door, or hatches, whatever you want to call it, those are access hatches to, security system for the house, the water shutoff for the outside faucet, a couple other things, the gas meter, so things that you need to get to. So basically, this section here, that, the carpet's a little bit darker, is removable. The tracks are not, the tracks are screwed down on the main layout here. They're also screwed down on that section over there, but the tracks in the middle are not. So it's not going to be easy, I'm not going to lie, but this is a removable section. It's not screwed into anything either. I'll try to get you a shot here. Might be hard to see, but basically this is just floating on cleats. So I could slide it out. It's not even the best pieces of wood. It's like 1x12. It's just what I had available. And it's light enough in weight that one person could take it out. It's still difficult to maneuver. But now I have an 8 foot by 8 foot section, or an 8 foot by 8 foot table for the most part. And this is, I'd have to double check, but this is the widest gauge you could get, or the widest diameter you could get from USA Tracks. So I think this is 87. And the inner one is 76, where the blue comet's on. The only thing missing is the pre-war 1 gauge, which would be like, there's one of the cars right there. The locomotive is right here. Hard to see. One of the locomotives. This is another one. That's going to be an elevated set, layout, track. That's the track right there. I've been messing around with diameters and where I could put track and where I could put the risers, the trestle, whatever you want to call it. Because obviously the biggest concern is that distance right there between the two trains. And I got to make some measurements, but I think either the 400 or, we're going to swing around. And yes, I know it's a mess down here. The 402 or the 381 is going to be the widest locomotives I own. Even if I end up buying another Boucher, it would be, one of the smaller ones, like the 2100, that could run on a tighter radius. So, anyway, let's go back to running this guy. You can see how well he's doing. And I just started to clean the track a little bit. I'm actually using like an alternator cleaner. Because it's electrical connection, so nothing fancy. And then the cars that run with this, let's slow that down a little bit. The cars that go along with this are going to be these Ives cars right here. These were repainted, not by me, by someone else. They're a little bit different in size, but honestly, I think it's easier to find Bouchers and Voltamps, the locomotives, than the cars. I hardly ever see the cars for sale. I hardly ever see locomotives for sale, but I think I see more locomotives for sale than the actual either freight cars or passenger cars. So anyway, that's that running. You know, and the Blue Comet, we'll run that just to get that going. Yeah, the unit's on it. Have a little race. Yeah. So that is, I think today is technically the first day I've ever ran the Boucher in this layout. Successfully ran it on this layout with the track screwed down, ready to go. I've done one other test run, but the track wasn't even put down. It was just sitting there and just make sure that the Boucher wouldn't hit the walls. It comes close. We're not going to lie on that one. I'll show you right here as it comes around. Yeah, it's getting really close to that wall. And the same on this side. We'll get a picture as it comes around. But it's clearing by a hair, and that's technically all you need. And unfortunately, I don't have any other space. So, you know, one of the reasons that I don't have the space is this is essentially an alcove in the basement. You know, behind there, those doors is a mechanical room, and you have the furnace, you have the hot water heater, you have some other stuff in there. This is it's a jump out because the other thing behind there is the gas meter, so that sticks out a little bit. You know, the only other thing I could do would be, if we swing around, would be to gut this one and turn this into standard gauge, and that was a serious thought of mine, but a lot of it has to do with I have so much time and money invested into this layout, and I know it's a mess, I do apologize, but a lot of the parts that, you know, came off of this one when I had to rebuild it had to go here temporarily because I have limited space. So anyway, it was a short video just again the Boucher running and seeing it, and hopefully within the next month, you know, at the start of the new year, I'll be able to build my elevated 1 gauge, and like I said, it's pre-war 1 gauge electric, so not wind up. So the gauge in here, I'll show you the gauge real quick, or can't show you the gauge, but that is the track right there. Essentially, that is like right between O and standard gauge as far as the gauge goes. But this is also the same width as G. So the difference is this had a third pickup rail in the middle for power. Another one, these are really hard to find, these trains. But like the Markland that I have, which is this guy down here, and I think I've done a video on this guy. This train runs perfectly. I mean, it is. It just goes. It's never ever given me an issue. Even the day I bought it, think I need to clean it or anything like that. No, it basically needed a little bit of oil and it was ready to go. So I can't wait to get that going, and that's going to go, like I said, probably about 1 foot high. Figure, well, that's probably bigger than 1 foot, but somewhere along those lines, because, you know, if the riser itself is 12 inches, and then the plywood that's going to be on top, so it's going to be like 1/2 inch ply. So yeah, it's going to be about almost 13 inches, because then there's going to be a foot plate on the bottom, so, you know, that starts to add up. Anyway, so that's the video for today. Yeah, stay tuned for the next video after this, which is going to be hopefully the second floor or the elevated track. One thing that's not going back is that over there. If you guys remember that game, there's no place to put it. I was just like out of room here. There is, again, yeah, the train itself, the elevator rail is going to give me that height. The other thing about the elevator rail, it's going to be another oval, I think, or a squared off circle. And I know that sounds a little weird, but it's going to basically be straight track, curve, straight track, curve, straight track, curve. So it's just going to have straight tracks in the center sections. And it's going to be forward this way, so it's not going to impact the IVE shelves. And I know people are sitting there saying, well, how are you going to get to those trains? Unfortunately, I'm not. And they're going to be a little covered. And, it's one of these things where I don't have the space that I would like to have for a bigger layout. So you make do with what you can. And as long as it's enjoyable to you, does it really matter? No, not really. So anyway, thanks for watching. And yeah, see you later.